Sorry about that. Um, just trying to look up some stuff. Um, Hi. For people that don't know, this is Caitlin, or do you go by
Yes.
Kate? What do you want to go by?
Doesn't matter. Whatever one is fine. Either
All
one.
right. Introduce yourself, Kate.
I'm Kate. Currently live in South Florida by the Fort Lauderdale area. Been doing CrossFit for a little while, like 10 years, and met PC back in St. Louis, where we both used to live. So, old time friends.
Old time friends, and it's kind of a last minute show. I called you. Well, I guess last night my time is probably like afternoon for you. I'm like, hey, do you want to jump on do a show, basically recapping a leaderboard for 25.1? And you're like, you sure? I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Um, and so here we are. I haven't seen many people recap the show. This is something we did in the past. I figured why not. Now, obviously, there's a caveat that this isn't official yet. There will be penalties. There might be penalties, but what we have now is basically to close your registration. If you haven't signed, you're still not too late to sign up for the open. You still can. You just won't do all the workouts. Your first score won't matter. I actually did that one year. I forgot. I did the workout, completely forgot, but then still signed up late. So, but that was when it was like 5 workouts. I'm sorry. Excuse me. So, all right. So, you did 25.1. How'd it go?
Honestly, for being a burpee workout, you know how I feel about burpees.
Mhm.
I kind of liked it. It definitely is not one of the workouts where I would see it on, programmed for class and I'm dreading it. It was not that bad. I liked it better than 24.1 for sure.
And do you, now that you did it, is this something that you would think people would program in a class?
I think so. It's definitely doable for everyone. So no matter what skill level you're at, you can do it. And retestable. Like I was not sore afterwards compared to 24.1. All the hinging and pulling from the ground, I was definitely more sore last year than this year. So it's retestable too. It's not gonna leave you, dying the next couple days. So I would definitely program it in class. I liked it, and 15 minutes is definitely doable too.
Now I'm looking for you on the leaderboard. What are you listed as?
I did not sign up for the open this year.
Oh, okay. All right. Did not know that. But you
Yeah.
are still doing it in the community with your class and
So,
everything?
yep, still participating with my affiliate. I actually have only signed up officially twice, but I didn't put in some scores a long time ago. But last year was my first year to complete it. Just doing it for fun this year to participate at
Mhm.
my local affiliate.
Gotcha. Gotcha. I can kind of do that. I mean, kind of like what I've kind of explained with myself is that I don't think I've signed up for the actual open probably since 2019. However, it's because usually the open falls like in the busiest time of work for me. It's usually when March Madness is going on for basketball, so I'm usually gone the whole like Thursday through Sunday or Monday shooting, like literally from dusk to dawn. So what I typically do is I just sign up. I sign up for the judges course, and so that's how I participate. Is I do that, and since I can't always do the open, I do the judging, and you know how I feel about judging. I mean, that's something that I really enjoy doing, and I feel like it's a way to give into the community or give to the community, especially your own affiliate. You can make that difference right there, right then. Because I know right now, unfortunately, like Gambit, I'm not at Gambit right now because I'm deployed, but they're doing like an intramural open. Andrew and Kelly, they basically drafted teams, and they're just kind of using, which just sounds really cool from what I've heard. So they did that on Friday, and then Saturday they did our in-house Mardi Gras competition. So
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
yeah, that's which is by the way, it's like we've had some new people. I've been like kind of just kind of like marketing that thing and prepping it up, and but BB is life PC. um, but anyways, so so here we are. I had some other guests lined up, but last minute they couldn't make it, or they had other obligations. Like I said, it was kind of a last minute show. Thank God I have someone like you. But yeah, let's kind of Mike Halpin put something up, I don't know if you kind of watch, if you follow any of his stuff on Known and Knowable, but like I said, I preface this with, there's still time for people to sign up, even though the first workout, it's too late for that score to stand. But what we are seeing is there was a significant drop, as expect, not maybe not as expected, but as signups started coming in. We're looking at the lowest amount of registrations since 2014. Um, it's a 32% decrease from last year, which we saw a steady rise since the 2020 season, where there was two opens. Um, so yeah, so a significant drop, 32%. Here you kind of see some of his charts. They're a lot easier to read now. Before he had them like the font was really small and everything, but Mike did a good job of doing this and keeping track of this. And this is all information he pulled from the CrossFit Games website, and which includes the total right now too. So this year they're using part of the open open to pay out the prize purse for
Yep.
the games. So right now, individual podium would pay out over 200,000. So we're looking just under 300,000 for the winner, which is it looks like maybe about 40,000, around 40,000 less than it's done in the past. But who knows? Maybe CrossFit can find a sponsor to kind of you know offset some of the other costs. But right now we're looking at the podium paying just under 300,000 and 286,000 for the winner, 57,000 for second place, and about 46,000 for third place, which again is a significant drop off from previous years.
Okay.
Uh, yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. So, which at one point it wasn't looking really good, but obviously with the last minute signups for the Open, we they were able to um, um, kind of save themselves on that, I guess, in terms of prize purse. Another thing Mike helped put out today, and he didn't list the names, and it's kind of the reason why we're running late today, um, was this little tidbit. Um, games athletes. So for games athletes, 11 males and 11 females from the games last year did not sign up or participate. And I was able to compile a list. It's not really official, but from on the men's side, we're seeing obviously Fikowski, who's retired, Vellner, a name that kind of surprised me, Saxon Panchak,
Oh,
Henrik Lanen, who is hurt, Yellow Hosta, who made his announcement. Another name that kind of surprised me, Brandon Luckett, um, Luca, Victor Hoffer, Arthur Semenoff, Alexander Caron, and then this last name really surprised me, Cole Grieshaber. Um, when I when I when I say those names, any of them kind of stick out to you or surprise you as well?
not necessarily surprised me, but once you read them off, are how many of those are European athletes? A-
Um,
About
well,
half.
really, if you count Luca, it'd be it looks like four. Henrik Hopalainen, who's hurt with Achilles. Yella, who announced that he was going to concentrate on WFP. Luca, who obviously for the same reasons concentrating on WFP, and then Victor Hoffer. So four of the 11.
Yeah, nobody surprises me from hearing the list of names, and I guess maybe the reason there is more people that are just some are hurt and focusing on different things. I expected them to be different reasons, I guess.
Yeah,
But nobody that really stands out. But I didn't know about Colt either.
yeah, that one kind of surprised me. I don't know. I haven't talked to Cole since I think reps that we did a reps ahead with him back in November, and I haven't heard much from him at all. He doesn't have much of a presence on social media. Like he doesn't post that much. So um, yeah, and at the time he was an HWPO athlete. I don't know if that's true, if he still is or not. But that's definitely something we can look at. There were some other names. I mean, like there was like names like Cole Sager, Samuel Cornier, who said that he wasn't going to compete in the CrossFit Games season, but he is. Um, and on the women's side, there's 12 women. And I'll go through the list here. Gabby, Laurel Horvath, Elisa Fuliano, Emma Tall, Karen Freyova, Victoria Campos, Jacqueline Dahlstrom, Gemma Rader, Julia Cato, Andrea Pinero, Emma McQuaid, and Chloe Gavin David. And of that, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the 12 are European, and there's 3. The all 3 podium winners from South America are not competing in the Open this year, and that's Victoria Campos, Julia Cato, Andrea Pinero. So if you're a woman, we're going to see a new women's champion or 2. You're going to see probably some new faces from South America. I believe the women and men both get 2 spots for the games.
Okay.
Out of their semifinal. That's not counting the online semifinal as well, but that's coming. I think they get 2 spots out of their semifinal. So, any of those names surprise you?
I was going to say, I think the majority of those athletes had made some sort of personal statement on their social media. So none of those stood out for me either. A little less surprising than the men.
I was really surprised by the South Americans, quite frankly. Gemma from South Africa won the Africa semifinal last year. I believe she's injured, and then obviously Gabby's injured, and then Chloe Gavin. She was one that she admitted last year she made it by accident. She was pretty much retired, so. Maybe this is her way. The way I guess the only way to be truly retired is not to do it.
There you go.
So
yep.
yeah, maybe that's her thinking this year, because if she's the type of athlete, I think if she would have signed up for the Open, she probably could have made the Open again, or she probably would have made the games again. But yeah, 7 out of the 12 European athletes of that aren't too surprising in terms of the names, and then another 3 are for South America, and then followed by Chloe and Gemma to wrap out that 12. So, yeah. So, I mean, every year there is some turnover. Obviously, this year's a bigger year. Nadine, did you see both Emmas? Yes. So, Emma Tall and Emma McQuaid. So, and I'm pretty sure I'm right on these. Like I said, it was kind of last minute looking up and cross-referencing. But that's kind of what we got. Now, like I was saying, you usually see some turnover, usually due to injuries or retirement, but nothing this big. But obviously, the state of the world in CrossFit and fitness in general, we're kind of in flux. So, but we're not here to talk about that. We are here to talk about who did compete and how they did in 25.1. So let's start off with the women. And we have last year's Open champion, Miriam Van Roer. First place, 359 reps, 14 reps more than this Alizné Igazabal from Spain. Not familiar with her. And usually when you see a non-familiar name at the top of the leaderboard, first thing you think is like, that's probably not someone, that's a real person. But from what I've heard, it is a real person. It is a real score. But let's talk about the person on the front, Miriam Van Roer. What do you know about her? I mean, obviously I know a lot, but I mean, what can you talk about?
I looked her up on Instagram because I honestly was not familiar with her, and she is insane. She competed in High Rocks, I think, last weekend as well. She had a powerlifting competition like the weekend before. She's crazy in the best way, but she got over 100 more reps than I did, and I cannot imagine. The girl was moving. But I think, did she win 24.1 last year?
I believe so. I can look. Let me effort that. She is a type of athlete that will, the Open is made for her. Obviously, she won the Open last year. She won 24.1 and finished second in 24.3. 24.3, she finished second by, to Rebecca Foussier by about 30, little over 30 seconds. But yeah, she won 24.1 by 4 seconds over Julia Hannaford.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, obviously she did well last year, and they were kind of similar workouts this year.
Mhm.
She killed it. She did awesome. And then I saw she did it twice, right? She redid it, not knowing
She did it 3 times.
3 times.
She did it the first time, and if you go to our social media, I believe she got like a 3:45 on Thursday. Redid it on Friday, I think. Believe got a 3:57, and then she competed in because she's from the High Rocks world.
Yep.
Competed in the High Rocks there in Switzerland, I believe. Won the High Rocks, and then decided to do it again on Sunday or Monday. Got 2 reps better, 3:59, and yeah, she kind of made a joke like if I would have known 3:57 would have held, I would have I would just stayed at that instead of doing it a third time. But this is something she did last year as well. She did I forgot which workout. She did multiple. I think it might have been the first workout she did like 3 times too,
Hmm.
because of some other errors or stuff like that. But
I do remember that.
yeah, so it's very impressive. Obviously, she has the capacity. She's a shorter athlete,
Yep.
and we'll see kind of a trend here with some of these athletes, and that shorter athletes, obviously, going when it comes to snatching, hang snatching, and then going to get into the ground, you're a little bit more faster at cycling. And I mean, you're a taller athlete. How tall are you again?
5'11".
5'11". So she's
Tall, big.
let me tell you, if you ever need a partner and there's wall balls involved, this is the girl to have. I've never the way she does wall balls is amazing, and it's and full depth too. But
Yep.
Miriam's just speaking of wall balls, someone as short as Miriam, her and Ellie Turner probably have to be the best wall ball athletes on the female side, and which is really surprising. But her legs are, if you ever saw her, her legs are they're like tree trunks.
Love
Um,
that.
yeah, and Miriam kind of suffers in the gymnastics, but she's getting better. I got to see her finally live in person at IF3 this year in Budapest, and she won that competition. A lot of people may say like the IF3 really isn't, it's a competition. It's not really high level, but
Right.
there was some pretty well known athletes there. Some athletes we'll even see here on the leaderboard.
What
But
is her background? Do you know what her background is?
I mean, High Rocks. I mean, she kind of like broke into the world in High Rocks. And if you go to, it's so funny if you look at like how her body's changed since she started taking CrossFit on full time. You see kind of like an endurance athlete who was probably the best High Rocks athlete when it comes to rowing, the machines, and wall balls. That's how she would win those. She would go unbroken on the wall balls at the end, and so she
Oh,
won so many. And she was really good at the machines. Now I mean, she's the Olympic lifting has improved dramatically. She still suffers when it comes to bar muscle ups and ring muscle ups. There's a couple at the IF3. There was a workout with ring muscle ups. She did a really good time with a really good job on the first set, but then as it went further, she was doing like fast singles on ring muscle ups. So
okay.
uh, yeah, Lido, at least she did CrossFit and Ollie lifting before. It may be. I mean, yeah, that's quite possibly. I think she kind of broke through in High Rocks, obviously, but I could definitely see that. She's won some Olympic lifting events, and she's done all of those since she's done all those competitions. She's done High Rocks, lifting competition, and CrossFit events over the last 6 months. So, but that's Miriam. Really showing that she's one of these. She's an athlete to keep an eye out for. But the question is, can she do it in live competition? She's been doing a lot of live competition, so we'll see. Um, and then we mentioned Alizain from Spain, 345 reps. And then we start getting some familiar names here. Caroline Dardini. For those who are fans of the West, I believe the West semifinal, um, she did really good in the first event. Um, and she's an endurance athlete. So I'm really probably one of the better runners in CrossFit, semifinal type athlete. And she finished third with 343 reps, tying Fee Sagafi, who I'm pretty sure that's no surprise to you, right?
She did great too.
Yeah. And what we'll probably see here, and especially when we switch over to the men's side, is that the brute athletes really, really stepped up in 25.1. Followed by Manon Angunis. Those who follow Hiller, she submitted a video and he watched it and kind of called her out on it for not locking out. So what she do? She went back, redid the whole workout, and actually did 7 reps better and finished. She's currently in 5th at 342 reps. It's kind of surprising. She's a bigger athlete, but she did really show a lot of capacity in this. And then Caroline Prevost, another veteran, 35 years old. I mean, multiple games athlete, known for her deadlifting, 341 reps. That's very impressive for someone like her. The former Minnesota, I believe Minnesota hockey player. Anyone from Manon, Caroline, that kind of, anything you want to say about those 2 athletes?
I was just gonna touch on Manon's redo. Do you think we're going to see that, like the judging standards like we did last year? Do you think that is going to come into play with videos like that, or what do you think?
I mean, I don't know if they'll play too much into the Open. It definitely will in the online semifinal when all the videos will have to be live and available. But in the Open, I mean, the way I look at it, if you're a top level athlete and you don't have a live judge there, or if you have a judge or like a spouse or someone that could show some bias judging you, to record it and post it. That's what I would say. And I would do it earlier than sooner, because what it helped Manon out was because at least she was able to go back and redo it before the deadline. But I would just do it. I mean, I don't think. I mean, there is a lot of criticism when it comes to judging and online reviewing, but I think, CrossFit isn't going to be as, I guess, I don't know, as stringent as usual when it comes to online judging through the Open. I guess maybe they're hoping the other 2 workouts will weed people out, and that the people that need to be there and that 1% will be there.
And I guess that the judging was from quarterfinals, I guess, last year, not the Open. So
and we don't have quarterfinals this year.
I'm always on the better safe than sorry, especially when it comes to these things. I'd rather have it and have proof than not. So
true. And I'm sure if you're not sure, there are athletes out there that will shoot their videos and they'll send them to Hiller to have look at them before they post it. So if you're unsure, and just slide into Hiller's DMs and he'll take a look for you. And the thing, Hiller really is unbiased when it comes to stuff like that. He's called out his own friends. I remember he called out John Young for the reps that he's doing, saying John Young did not, lock out a single, shoulder to overhead. I don't believe that. I haven't watched the whole video, but that's the type of thing. Now, this is really cool. Kristen Holta, for those that follow Krieger, she's, semi-retired. I guess it depends on what day you ask her. But, she's heading up an amazing training camp there in Oslo, Norway, and CrossFit Oslo. As soon as the announcement was done, within 30 minutes, she filmed herself doing it. So the whole weekend, her 340 reps, just at 38 years old, I believe she'll turn 39 this year by the time the games rolls around, held up for the whole weekend. And she finishes 7th, which is crazy. I mean, it's not crazy if you know Kristen and then know the level that she's working at, but she retired, had a baby, just slowly has been doing it and having fun. And the thing is, the training camp she has there, she has amazing athletes, which we'll talk about here soon. And she just enjoys working out with them, and it just shows her level of fitness that she can do that. And go ahead.
No, that's just at 38 and after having a kid, obviously people have proved that it is doable, but I think that is amazing to finish 7th after that workout.
Now, if you know anything about Holta, this is her type of workout. She's probably one of the best when it comes to burpees, and it's no coincidence that the Krieger athletes did as well. So Uda, who I'm really, really huge on, just someone that you really need to keep an eye on. Her and Leah Storen. Leah Storen's another young and up and comer, both from CrossFit Norway or Oslo. They both tied at 334 reps. Both Krieger athletes. They did it. I think Leah went first, and then Uda went right after her. And Yeah, 334 reps. These two athletes, I've been talking about Leah for probably 3 years now. The only thing that's kind of held her back are injuries. But the one thing, if you want to just become really good at CrossFit, like CrossFit is your thing, that you want to become a good CrossFitter, then the Krieger training program is the way to go. Um, it's just all around CrossFit. It's CrossFit at its purest form. That's what they teach there. Those are the type of athletes they're putting out. And it shows, again, with these two athletes right here, and Leah and Uda. And then, well, there's some other athletes down the list. Of Krieger athletes make up 12% of the top 100 on the
Oh, wow.
list. So they have 12 women finished in the top 100.
Speaks for itself, I guess, then, huh?
Yeah, yeah. So Lucy Campbell, a name. We're not gonna, like I said, we're not gonna get too far. We'll just hit on some names here. Lucy Campbell. I mean, you got to see her live in person at Wadapalooza. I mean, is this going to be a common theme? Seeing her near the top of the leaderboard.
I think Wadapalooza, it sounded like it was a really big confidence boost for her. So I would not be surprised to see her at the top of the leaderboard in anything that she does this year and the years coming. I think she has like far exceeded her expectations, it sounds like. And this is, I think, just the beginning for her for sure.
I definitely hope so. I mean, I know Lucy, she's a great person. I know how hard she struggled to come back. And the thing is, she's not, I still don't think she's 100%.
Mm-hmm.
But for her to go down and do this many burpees on that wrist and to have that flexion on it, it says a lot that she's a lot closer to being 100% than being the other way. So she's definitely someone. And I just think that other workouts, I wouldn't probably pick this workout to be her jam, but here she is at 11th, and I think she can only go up overall on the leaderboard with the next 2 or 3 workouts that happen. Another, we'll kind of go down the list. A lot of these athletes you see here, they're kind of on the shorter side. I know Marissa Flowers. I mean, she's 58 inches. I believe that's like 5'1", 110 pounds.
Okay, yeah.
So you'll see a lot of that. I know Julia from Poland. She's 62 kilograms, 100. I mean, she's a shorter athlete too. And then we'll start seeing some names here. Danielle Brandon at 22nd, Bethany Flores, DB in a burpee workout. I think a lot of people underestimate her capacity and her ability for workouts like this. They just think of her as a handstand walk specialist and a runner and a swimmer, but obviously she's fit. And this is at a new gym too. She just made the move to Tampa, and I still think this is a really good finish for her.
No, absolutely. And I think too, this is kind of a gritty workout. If you make it one for 15 minutes, like how bad do you want to hurt? And I think she can put her head down and do it if she needs to.
Yeah. Bethany Flores, I believe she was part of that group that came over to Germany to go to Adidas headquarters, and they all did there at a big group of them. She finished 22nd. I think, we always talk about Bethany Flores, what might have been the year that she got COVID. That was the healthiest we've seen her. She won the West Coast semifinal that year out in Las Vegas. She was living out there training with underdogs, and we were kind of denied that. And since that, she's been kind of gradually coming back, dealing with injuries. She's 31 now. She lives out in LA. She trains out there. I believe her husband, who's a trainer, an athletic trainer or strength and conditioning coach for the LA Lakers, he helps her out with a lot of this stuff. What are you expecting from Bethany this year?
I am not sure. I felt like she did. I know the games were a little bit different this past year, but she did better than what I had kind of expected her to. And I feel like we always see like some peaks and valleys from her. She either does really well or not so great. So I really like her. So I'm hoping this is a really good year for her. I mean, 22nd place. And I know a bunch of people are tied where she's at, but I think if she can hold on to that, I think it'll maybe be a good year for her too.
Yeah. One of these athletes I know well, also another Krieger athlete, Andrea Solberg. She's kind of on the come up. She's been so close. I mean, she made the games in 2020 when it was the online games. She's always been on the cusp of making it. She's never competed live. She's just one of the fittest people in Norway. I've talked to her many times. She's really dedicated this year to kind of just making the games. Um, and this is again no surprise from a Krieger athlete. Another athlete I kind of want to point out up here. Another Krieger athlete is Inga. I've met Inga before. She's actually known more as like maybe as a lifter, but she crushed this workout.
Okay.
I got to meet her a couple times. She's a good friend of Sahar, and I've met. I mean, she travels with Sahar whenever she goes to Korea, so it's kind of her like hype man, hype person. But a great performance by her at 19th. Not kind of a name you wouldn't expect to be there. Yoku. So Yoku, 38 years old. This is the person here that I wanted to make the games. I've met her. She's probably like 4'11". She's always missed out on the games. Even back in the regional days, she was always like one spot short. But she's like really when it comes to the state of CrossFit in Japan, it's basically her.
Okay.
And to see her do really well in this workout, I'm not surprised. Again, kind of like Holta, kind of she's older. She just stays fit, and so really happy for her to be right there. I would like to see her maybe do obviously she's a masters athlete. To her to finally make the games as a master, I think it would be really cool. And then we start getting into some familiar names here. More Alexis Raptis at 29th, 322 reps. I think this is really cool for her. Obviously, she's dealing with with some a disease, but when we last spoke to her at Wadapalooza, she seemed very happy. She feels like she has everything under control. She's on the right medication. So this is a very good indication of that. And then we have Ariel Lowen, who a lot of us didn't know she was going to sign up for the Open. And there she is on the leaderboard, followed by someone like Amy, and then Amy Kringle, Gracie Walton. We have a former teen athlete who I believe finished on the podium a couple times, 18-year-old. She's there as well. And yeah, Lucy McGonigal, another teen athlete at 45th. Anyone stick out to you or anyone you want to talk to or talk about?
The one note I did have is that Tia Toomey finished 525th. I had to look her up, but obviously that was surprising. I know she had put in a different score previously, and then looks like adjusted it or redid it, but not sure what happened there. But obviously most people are going to expect to see her at the top of the leaderboard, and you have to search a little bit to see her.
Yeah, 525 reps. She did it there. It says at CrossFit Proven, unless she I believe she did it in Australia, and her judge is Madeline Sturt. So that's what we have right there, 525. I mean, I think the first video we watched, she gave Shane a 3-minute head start, and I think she did the men's weight.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I saw the 3-minute head start, but not the men's weight. So
I think she might have went back and just redid this. And again, you only have to finish top 1% to move on to these online semifinals. And of course, she did. I think they did announce today that she accepted her invite to the Torium Pro, which the Torium Pro, if you win that, I believe the top 2 place finishers there gets a games spot as well. So her path to the games doesn't necessarily go through the Open so much. I still think she's going to be top 1%. So, and kind of looking around the names around her, here's a name I think you might know, JC Coleman.
I do. Yep.
Yeah. So she tied Tia. So one of your friends could say they tied Tia in an Open workout. And then, yeah, I've seen. I do notice there are some names here I do know, but I don't really think that's obviously an indication of her fitness. We all know she did a High Rocks this weekend with James Newberry, and I just think she's not really taking it. I mean, not really taking when you're at that level, you don't have to take the Open as serious. Speaking of High Rocks, Lauren Weeks, who's a High Rocks champion. She actually is also, I think she competed at the games or made it semifinals back before she started High Rocks.
Okay.
But the 70th, she did a race, I believe. I think she had a baby like 10 months ago as well. But yeah,
Jeez, these people are amazing.
yeah. I mean, it really is. Trying to think any other names here in the top 50. Trissa Smith at 54. Good performance by her. Rebecca Foussier, who you think would do a really good job in this type of workout, 54th as well. Abigail Domet, Erica Folo, also top 100. Evie Hollis, a good friend of mine over there in the UAE. I don't know. I believe she might be competed. The African semifinal, they are inviting athletes from the Middle East, so that's an option for her. To do that as well as do any of the, I believe Korea as well. Is one she was looking at as well. Zoe Warren. Oh, here's another name, Sarah Sigmund's daughter, 74th, tied for 313 reps. How's that make you feel, seeing her name on there?
About what I expected. I was just trying to think if I had seen that she had made any statements about about what she was doing for this season. I couldn't remember or not, but that's honestly probably about where I would expect her to be, like the middle of the pack when we're talking about the rest of the athletes.
Speaking of Africa, did you see Sarah got an invite to Africa as well?
I did not see that.
Yeah, she did get an invite. I mean, that's one of the, I guess, cool things. A lot of these semifinals, they have qualifiers as well, or they can get invites. So Sarah got an invite, and it does fall kind of under the rules because Africa did say they were going to open up the region or their semifinal to athletes in the Middle East. That includes someone like Sarah, who does live in the UAE now. She spends most of her time there in the UAE. That's where her doctor's at. That's where her therapists are at, or PT's at.
And remind me, you do have to participate in the Open, correct? You have to complete it or no?
To go to the games, yes. Now, there's nothing that says an athlete that didn't compete in the Open still can't. They can still go there. They just don't get a game spot. So think about. I mean, let's say Laura decided to do. She got an invite to Far East Throwdown.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and she goes there and she wins it. She wins the prize purse, which is, let's say, $10,000. She would not be eligible for the games. Spot.
Okay.
Because she didn't sign up through the Open.
That's what I
But
thought.
she can still compete at that competition if that competition lets her in, or if it has like an online qualifier and she compete that way. She can still go there and win money.
Okay.
But the thing is, she cannot take a spot for someone that did compete through the Open. So I think there will be some instances of that.
Okay.
I'm really interested to see what athletes do that. I mean, there's nothing saying that a semifinal can invite an athlete that didn't compete in the game season.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm like I said, I'm really interested to see if anything like that does happen. But it wouldn't be it's not forbidden unless CrossFit has said something to them about that, to these athletes. Haley Adams, 107th. 30 Helgadottir, who we haven't seen the last couple of years. She's still there, 113. Claudia Gluck, Reese Littlewood, again, the top teenage athletes from last year that aged up. They're doing really well in this stuff in the Open so far. So wouldn't be surprised to see some of Emily Rolfe, who finished on the podium at the games, 306 reps. Emily Bridgers, CrossFit Terminus, OG right there, kind of throwing her name in there. So kind of interested to see if that means that she's going to compete in the season or maybe the Masters. So only 38 years old, a young 38. Andrea Nisler, who kind of did the same thing, who won I believe she pretty much swept the Masters division last year and basically made Yeah, I forgot, was it semi? She qualified for semifinals only like I think like 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Were you on that? You were on that. That was the first time you were on the show, right? When we brought Andrea on.
Yeah, she dominated.
Yeah, yeah, like 6 weeks after having a baby.
Yes.
Yeah, so not surprised to see her name there. Lydia Fish, a fan favorite. They're at 139. So those are kind of rounding out the athletes that got to kind of 300. How crazy is it that Miriam basically broke her scorecard? Like scorecard, I think it only goes past 30, right? But
I think so. It was either I think it went through round 9, if I can remember correctly, which
mhm,
would have been the 30 then. Yeah. Right?
yeah, yeah. But yeah, she ran out of spots to right. They had to use the extended scale, I guess.
So
Lido,
the oh, go ahead.
some great information. Elisa Fuliano is doing that in terms of she's doing both the European sanctionals,
She's
and
doing both.
she's in the French Throwdown and the one in Spain. I think I forgot what it's called. WAD. Forgot the name of that semifinal. The one in Spain. It's WAD something. But she's going to be doing both of them. So she has a chance to podium, win money, but she just won't go to the games.
Okay.
So, but what were you saying?
Do you think because the scorecard only went up to the round of 30 that they anticipated people like not a lot of people would get there? Like
I think,
the athletes were better than expected?
yeah, I definitely think so. Dave's really good when it comes to testing these workouts. He brings in like semifinal type athletes to kind of test these. Um, but the thing is, like, I think he doesn't do this till he gets to the games. When he starts programming for the games, he'll start bringing specialists. So for open workouts, he really doesn't bring in specialists because the open workout's supposed to be more like CrossFit, not like, oh, you're going to do good only if you're a gymnast. It's more about testing your fitness. Miriam is almost a specialist when it comes to like burpees. The same with someone like, Casha said he was expecting people to break the scorecard. So Lido with all the information. Thanks so much, Lido. Um, um, but it's just looked like only two people broke the scorecard.
Okay.
That leads us into anything you want to say about the women's before we move on to the men.
No, I think that sums it up.
Yeah. Any other notes there?
No, no notes.
No notes. Yeah, this all come from memory. All right, going to the men's. All right, Colton Mertens. Any surprise there?
None at all.
I think if I want to meet the people that said that did not say Colton Mertens. Now, granted, I personally did think Colin Bossard and another guy towards the bottom of we'll see later, Kale Lehman, are two athletes that I thought would do really good. And Colin Bossard for a while there was up until the last minute. Colton entered it. He beat Colin by 3 reps. Um, but yeah, this workout was tailor made for someone like Colton. The weights, nothing for him. The burpees, nothing for him. Yeah, anything you want to say about Colton and his
No.
performance?
I mean, I no surprise at all that he would do so well at a workout like this. Like you said, it was made for him. So good for what he got 361,
Yep.
which is only 2 more reps than what the women got. So with the heavier weight, I do think sometimes the 50-pound dumbbell is a little bit heavier for the men, at least like what I see in the affiliates here, that the 50-pound dumbbell takes the men out a little bit more than the 35 for the women sometimes. But for them, the elite athletes, probably not so much.
Iron Hog was laying it down, representing. I'm really pumped to see what Colton does this year. Obviously, he didn't make it last year, but took it in stride. Like I said, he could have easily just, Colton, he's taken it. He's handled it probably the best way possible. Um,
Agreed.
Still involved, he's still doing things, he's still winning money. He's beating Taylor on the Kill Taylor show whenever he gets an opportunity when he's not pig farming or selling dogs. But he's done probably the most for himself this offseason for someone that didn't make the games, and I've probably seen anywhere else. So and it's great seeing his personality comes out. And now I think seeing that performance match with this personality, it's what we're seeing is the making of maybe the next superstar in CrossFit.
How old is he?
Colton is really 27 years old, so he's been doing this for a while though.
Yeah.
He first made the games as a part of the CrossFit Kilo team. Him and his future wife were on that team together. So yeah, he's been doing it for a minute. Colin Bossard, I guess when it comes to burpees and shoulder overheads with a dumbbell, I guess the Swiss have it. He's another guy, kind of just missed out on the games last year. Kind of an up and comer athlete, someone I've been paying a lot of attention to. Also, the IF3 championship, defending IF3 champions, won twice in a row. But him finished second, 358 reps. He's very similar to Miram. They do a lot of talking. They talk with each other a lot. They very similar in terms of like Olympic lifting. It's not maybe his biggest strength.
Okay.
But when it comes to CrossFit, pure CrossFit, he's a beast. So Colin coming in second. This is a surprise. Dallin Pepper. When you see Dallin Pepper, someone of his build, they're at third. What are your thoughts?
I was a little surprised because he is a bigger athlete. I know people in the chat are saying it's not necessarily a short man workout. But it is a little surprising to see, but I think it speaks volume to the work that he's been putting in. I'm surprised, but not surprised, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Have you been watching the podcast, him, Justin, and Jason Hopper? They've been doing every Monday.
No.
I listened to it for the first time the other day on the drive back. And it was actually it's really entertaining, really good. It's really cool. Justin is obviously those three guys have a bet going on for these open workouts. And I think the guy who finishes the worst, I think they have, I forgot who, if it's Justin or Jason, they have to basically get a tan or use self tanner. and those three guys, well, Dallin, James Sprague, and Jason will be competing in 25.3. And I think they're trying to decide what the punishment is to the loser of that one.
Okay. I like that they're bringing a little like lightness to the sport.
Yeah.
Everybody is so serious all the time, understandably so, but I like the energy that they bring. It's something new, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of dates back to when Vellner, Jason Carroll, Fikowski were doing that. I think, I believe 2018, 2019, they were doing something similar, but like I said, we haven't seen anything like that in the last couple of years. But it's really cool watching their friendship kind of like blossom. And they had the show I watched, they had James on. It was really cool to see that crosstalk between Justin Medeiros and James Sprague, who are, they're both games champions. So it's just kind of weird seeing like, the mutual respect they have for each other because they have that title. But Dallin there, number 3, like I said, brute athletes kind of stepping up. And Dallin's really kind of reinvented himself in terms of an athlete. Like you said, he's kind of a taller, bigger athlete. And he's kind of competing like a smaller athlete.
Yep.
Jeffrey Adler, when you saw his name on the leaderboard, were you surprised?
I don't know if surprise is the right word, but I know there had been a lot of speculation on whether he was going to sign up or not. And I didn't know until right before this that he did. So surprised, yes, that was his final decision. Glad to see him on here because I think this will maybe shut down some arguments or speculations that are going on and let him compete because he did not do Wodapalooza as an individual, right? And then did not do the games this past year. So I think it'll be good to see him in the individual competition again.
Yeah. And this is probably an event that you did. I mean, he is one of the fittest men in the world, finishes 4th. He's also an athlete I wouldn't pick to do really. I didn't think he'd be top 10, but here's at 4th, 341 reps, 7 reps behind Dallin. He looks like he's, at least his capacity and his cardio in 15-minute workouts is right up there amongst the best. George Sterner, we've had him on the show before, former teen athlete, went to the games. Brian has said this is a guy he thought was going to be the next, uh, um, um, drawing a blank. It was going to be the next games champion.
Okay.
Kind of fell off the face of the earth. Then he started competing, and he competed at Wadapalooza, qualified there, went there, did really decently, I thought. And here he is. He came in and comes in at fourth for the long, just kind of like Kristen Holta. He also did his, I believe, Thursday night. If you haven't watched a video of it, it's worth the price of admission to watch that. Normally I don't like watching people work out on YouTube for 15 minutes, but that one is comedy. Have you seen that? Have you seen it all or heard about his
I have
video?
not, no.
So basically, the gym that he works out, it's kind of like it's kind of like a Globo gym, but he works out there. But there's a guy who was like basically doing like shadow boxing and like right behind him,
Yeah,
the whole time, and was
did see
walking
that.
his, huh?
I did see that now that you're saying that, yes.
Yeah. So he was. So they brought George on. He kind of talked about the whole incident. It was hilarious, but George coming in at 341 reps. Like I said, really great job by him. I'm really interested to see what he does. The guy might be the fittest, I guess, self-made, I don't know, biologist. I don't know. He does a lot of his own farming, so he's really big in the planting and growing his own food. So that's really cool for George. Oldest Upanix is another. I don't know much about Nicholas there. CrossFit Hell's Kitchen. I believe I forgot. Yeah, but good job by him. It looks like he's been a semifinalist before. Tied, or no, at sixth place. And then Uldis Upanix, a guy who got hurt last year, had a really good start to the semifinals in Europe, then kind of faded, just missed out on making the games. He's been to the games, I believe, 3 or 4 times up to that point. Then he got surgery. It looks like he's still not 100% from that surgery, but it's really good to see him there at 7th. He's someone to keep an eye out on in the future, especially if his health catches up with his fitness. And then Austin Hatfield, we saw him during the Open announcement. He looked really good. Obviously, there's some questions about his reps. He addressed those. I don't think he redid them, and
Okay.
it doesn't look like right now. Like I said, this is unofficial. He might get penalized later. I don't know how that is in the Open. If you see someone with reps,
Sure.
I don't think they're reviewing video so much unless you submit one. Ricky Garrard at 9th. Kind of surprised by that. How about you?
I think 9th is still good for him. The last few competitions, I feel like I've had really high hopes for him. I'm a Ricky Garrard fan, and he's not placed where I would want him to, or where I'm sure he expected. I feel like 9th is a good spot for him. I wouldn't have picked him to be any higher, I don't think.
Yeah. That's why I think this is a great start for Ricky, because I think all the workouts after this probably would play to Ricky's strengths, just like how it might play for someone like Dallin. So having a 9th place finish might end up benefiting him in terms of winning the Open more than it might some of these other people ahead of him. But however, when you have people like Austin Hatfield and Dallin Pepper and Colton Mertens ahead of you, I have a feeling we're going to have a really close race when it comes to the Open. Who wins the Open this year on the men, especially on the men's side?
I agree.
What's your thoughts on? Do you agree?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think now that we've taken some people out of the mix, people who are left, I think that it'll be closer than what we've typically seen.
Yeah, because some of these people, like you said, like someone like Vellner and Saxon Panchik, these are guys who are perennial like top 10, top 5 Open finishers. So that kind of helps some athletes out. Maybe doesn't help other athletes out.
Yeah, that's true.
Not too down the list is another person, Jason Hopper. Another, I think, a good finish for him. It puts him in second amongst their little collection of group between him, Justin, and Dallin. 332 reps, just 2 reps behind Ricky and all the other gentlemen in 9th place. Roman there in 12th as well. It looks like he just stuck I guess he redid the workout. Yeah, it looks like he redid the workout. 332 reps. He didn't. I mean, when I watched did you watch the open announcement?
I did not.
Okay. I mean, obviously, it was Austin Hatfield just kind of just blew everyone away. Rich looked really good.
Mhm.
And then Roman finished behind Rich. I don't know. It didn't look like Roman, like what you're expecting, and maybe it's just because they did the workout a little bit later than he normally. I know he usually does his workouts in the morning, and kind of maybe thrown out of whack. But he just looked like or he might have went out a little too hot trying to keep up with Austin. But they're at 12th place, tied with Jason. This guy in 16th is another guy I thought was my dark horse to win it. His name's Cale Lehman. He's another shorter athlete, very similar build to like a Colin Bosshard, a Colton Mertens, kind of a shorter athlete. And he's currently in Army training to be an infantry officer right now. So for him to kind of get away to do this, it's really, that's impressive. He's kind of a HWPO athlete, or he trains out of HWPO whenever he's up in Vermont where he lives at. There's Justin Medeiros at 19th. Looks like he's going to be the one getting the aggressive spray tan. 326 reps behind Jason Hopper, finishing 6 reps behind Jason Hopper. Your thought on Justin and how he looks in this workout?
I mean, I think what place is he in?
Tied for 19th.
Tied for 19th. I think we hear 19th place and we don't think Justin Medeiros, but when we're talking about thousands and thousands of people, like, he's amongst the best still. So I think 19th is still a reasonable place, but it sounds like he's way far behind, but he's really not. I think that is about where I would place him too.
Same, I agree. Especially this kind of workout. I just think he's got a tough, the bet that they have between those 3 guys. I think he's just got a tough go at it, because I have a feeling that last workout, 25.3, will probably have rowing or some type of machine, and probably thrusters or double unders. And I think when it comes to that, Justin's not as good as the machines as some of those guys, especially the rower, especially the Jason and Dallin. So I don't know. I think some people are talking about, like, whoever the loser is, they shave their head. So I don't think Justin agreed to that. That's kind of on brand for him to have the mullet. So I don't think he agreed with shaving the head. But they did mention something about, like, henna tattoos of the guys they lost to, and they have to wear it during the first event of WFP with the shirt off or something like that.
I love that. Makes it fun.
Yeah. James Sprague, right there, the reigning fittest man in the world, 1 rep behind Justin Medeiros and the other people in 19th, 325 reps. You got to see James Sprague at Wodapalooza.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you were able to see him live in any other event, but what's your impression of James? I mean, obviously he's a very I don't want to use the word polarizing, but obviously, a lot of people are kind of saying he's not the fittest man. But after what you've seen, do you think he's one of the fittest men on earth, if not the fittest man on earth?
I was definitely a little skeptical after the games, for sure. I was kind of on that bandwagon a little, but after seeing him at Wodapalooza, I definitely think that was, like, his chance to prove to people, like, that wasn't, by luck or because of the circumstances. And I mean, he killed it at Wodapalooza. And so I do think that his fitness speaks for, where he is on at the end of every competition, I guess, on the podium. I was a little surprised to see him in 22nd because of what we've seen in live competitions. I would expect him to be a little bit higher, maybe.
Okay.
But he is a taller athlete too, so he's got a little bit longer to go. But I do think that he is where he deserves to be in terms of, on the podium.
I agree. I think what this has done in the off season is it's built up his confidence as a champion. It's really easy to kind of get like that, kind of play into it, like, hey, I won, but everyone thinks I didn't win. Yep. But he's looked at, he's approached, and I think a lot of it goes to his close group of friends, and also his father as well, that helps him with that. and his mentality is so strong, and and his faith as well. He
Even
truly he truly believes that God blessed him with that title, and if he believes that, then what's this kind of stop him?
yeah, and even at I think it was West Coast Classic
Mhm.
last year, he had a great performance. He did amazing at West Coast Classic. I don't remember where he placed, but I
Oh,
remember him having some.
yeah.
He did? Okay. But he had a great performance there too. So every time he goes anywhere, he performs really well. So
I kind of wonder, like, everyone said that, we're seeing some of the taller athletes on the men doing so well in this. I have to think that, bravo on the programming in terms of, and I mean, Dave could have easily made this, shoulder overhead from the ground, but he decided to make it hang. And I
yep.
think having it as a hanging shoulder, coming from the hang, I think what that did is kind of eliminate that and kind of even it out. So that way some of the taller, bigger athletes can keep up with some of the smaller athletes. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I actually was thinking about that earlier. I think that's a huge difference between last year, like the dumbbell snatch from the ground and then from the hang position. I do think I mean, if we're talking about time, saves a little bit of time for the taller athletes and makes it a more even um, test, I guess, if you will.
Yeah.
But I think that makes a difference for sure.
Going down the list, some more names. Jay Crouch, Taylor Self, who's not competing the games, but he is doing the Open, and he's one reason why is he's testing the workouts for one of the semifinals at Syndicate Crown. He's at 33rd. At one point, he was the second best time in the world. And see Dane Smith, who's the third brother of Alec and um, Ben Smith at CrossFit Krypton. He's in 39th. This is a really good workout for him. Another name to keep a lookout, Sestoval. And there, that name we're talking about, Samuel Cornier, who said he was pretty much done competing, but here he is, 45th in the world. He's done some high rocks. I believe he's doing the Mayhem Classic as well. So that him being invited to the Mayhem Classic might be the reason why he's competing here. Um, yeah, and then let's jump over to the other side here, see if there's any other familiar names here. Ricky's brother Ben, they're at 36 years old. He's at 45th. And kind of going down the list, Ty Jenkins, another former teen athlete, 19 years old. He was part of that Adidas crew that did it over in Germany, here in Germany. Finished at 40. I believe he was a top men in that group, and that group of men included him, I believe Jorge Fernandez, and trying to think who else. But yeah, um, really good showing by him. Joe Scally, there's a old name right there, 39 years old.
There's quite a few masters athletes that are at the top of the leaderboard for the men and the women.
Yeah, just kind of going down a list. Some familiar names, some past games athletes. Um, Mitchell Stevenson, Tom Kingdon, he's someone to keep an eye on. Caden Hogan's a former teen athlete, 19 years old, training Teen Think athlete. Max Krieg, who had a really good showing um, at Wadapalooza. They're at 315 reps. Jorge Fernandez, who we talked about, tied with them. And Kalen Souza. Yeah. But let's see. Won't get too
I think
far into it.
the men's
Scott,
leaderboard. Oh, go ahead.
we have
Um,
Scott Panchek at 101. So Saxon may not be signed up for the Open, but Scott, and I did look it up, Spencer Panchek are signed up. And so Harry Lightfoot coming off a really good Wadapalooza as well. Nick Matthew, Peter Ellis, yeah, Cole Sager. So looks like he might be recovered from his injuries, given another shot perhaps. And William Leahy, who was part of that group that was in Germany, recovering from an Achilles tear. So hopefully he's 100%. He's someone that a lot of people think could be a future games champion. He's got to make it to the games first. So, that's first things first. And yeah. But what were you saying about the men's leaderboard?
It seems like the men are a little more compact on the leaderboard up at the top, whereas I feel like the women are a little bit more spread out if we're looking for familiar names. Not huge jumps, but I feel like as you were scrolling, we weren't seeing as many men's names as we did women's.
Yeah. Um, I think, well, when you there's a lot of names on there we used to sing that aren't there. Obviously like Bukowski, Vellner, Saxon Panchek, Henrik. Um, a lot of those names they're bigger names not doing the open on the men's side than I think on the women's side, um, for many reasons. Um, but yeah, just very interesting.
It's
Um,
different. Sure.
it is. So looking ahead to 25.2, you have any predictions?
I don't. I know there's going to be a gymnastics workout, and that is going to be the workout that I have a meltdown in. So not looking forward to that. Um,
Mhm.
hoping for some sort of heavy barbell at some point, and I'm sure we'll get that too, but maybe not. Who knows?
Well, there are two movements, I believe, two movements that have been in every open. Uh, in every open. Do you recall what those movements are?
Thruster.
That's one.
I don't know the other one.
Double unders.
Oh, okay. I'd be okay with that.
Yeah. So I think we will probably see something with double unders in 25.2 with some type of gymnastics, maybe like maybe something like a pull up, maybe something progressive where I forgot what workout was, but if you finish X amount within this time, then you can move on to bar muscle ups or
Yeah.
chest to bar. If you finish that in this amount of time, then you can go um, to bar muscle ups where you have an aggressive time cap. So that because right now what you see is you see a lot of ties. So you need
Yeah.
a workout. You need something in 25.2 to kind of separate the field. And what better way to separate the field is by gymnastics. Um,
Last year, what was the chest to bar workout? Was that 24.2? Because it was the same thing, right? I think there was like a time cap you had to finish by a certain time. I could be very wrong.
See, that's the thing is unfortunately because I don't do the workouts unless they're programmed at my gym, I really don't recall what they are. I want to see if they updated it here. 20,
Like chest to bar, it was thrusters, chest to bar, and then I think bar muscle ups.
okay,
If you
so we had last year. No, it's as many rounds as possible. It was a 300-meter row, 10 deadlifts, 50 double unders.
okay, then it must have been 24.3.
That one was yes, that was 5 rounds, 10 thrusters, 10 chest to bar pull ups. Yeah, and then bar muscle. Okay, so here I was thinking I had a good idea, but it's already been done before. So,
Was
but that
there
is
like a time
yeah.
cap or like you had to make it by a certain time, right?
Uh, yeah. Time cap's 15 minutes. Yeah.
Hmm. I was thinking you had to
Oh,
make it, through a certain amount of reps by a certain
no,
time.
you
I can't.
just you have to finish the 5 rounds, then you get a rest. You have a mandatory 1 minute rest,
Right.
and then 5 rounds of 7 thrusters, 7 bar muscle ups, and yeah. So
Anything but that for the redo, because we still have a redo, like a repeat, right?
yeah. Well, I mean that's typically what happens, but I see probably. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think we didn't do it last year. Let's see if 2023 was. Uh, uh, we haven't had a part A or part B in a minute. Eh, I think we're due for one.
Mm.
You know, um, I would like to see 4 scored events, even if it is a part A and a B. I do like the 3 week. I do like the 3 weeks, but I would like to see like one of them as an A or B workout. Where you could do. I've always been a fan. Like, hey, you do a certain amount of workout for fitness, and then you're rewarded with like you can do as much weight as possible for the
Yep.
second part to kind of give you kind of a tiebreaker. And plus, it just shows a little bit more fun, has a little bit more fun to it, especially the community side of things.
Yeah,
So
and especially if you talk about Friday Night Lights, I know
yes,
like a max lift is very controversial if it should be like a test for CrossFit or not. But I think for the community and for Friday Night Lights, type environment, I think what better way? Like that's the most fun event to watch is a max lift. So that would be cool for the affiliates and people doing it in person for sure.
Yeah, I think it what was it 2021. We had 4 workouts. I'm trying to remember if that was it. Yeah, that was 2021. That's when Boz. I don't know. I think Boz was still programming at that point. Uh, yeah, it was a two-parter. 21.3. It's when you had the front squats and total bars, and then 21.4 begins immediately upon completing or reaching a time limit of 21.3, and 21.4 was the complete the complex, the one deadlift, one clean, hang clean, and the jerk.
Yep.
Yeah, that
I
was
do
fun.
remember
I,
that.
I remember being at Gambit, and that's when that was when I don't think you saw the second when we had a downstairs at our second. I think it was our third location, but there was downstairs, and everyone was just packed. And so some of my favorite pictures were from there because yeah, it was really cool, and I really that was probably one of my favorite open Friday Night Lights that I've been a part of. You know,
Those are so fun. Yeah, I would love part A and part B.
yeah.
Obviously, with just three, I think it's hard to make that one score for just a lift, but they could do a two-parter for sure.
Yeah, and I think it's always cool whenever you can do like an open workout because it's so community based. Where there's a chance that you can get a PR or your first bar muscle up. I mean, those are the fun stories, right? You
Yeah.
know, when you're there around people, it's almost like your own internal competition. But I mean, I remember I believe it was 2017 or 2018 where they had bar muscle ups, and you had all these videos of people getting their first bar muscle ups in the open. And unfortunately, I wasn't one of those people. But I remember seeing, but that's what motivated me because I was watching these videos on Instagram. I was seeing like, you know, grandmas and grandpas getting their first like bar muscle. I'm like, what the heck? Why can't I get mine? And, you know, it's like, so it kind of, you know, that was kind of the motivation. But for them to get it during the open announcement, during Friday nights for your community, when you had that energy, that's so cool. And I think that's what, yeah, I think that's what the open misses sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think that's what if you're gonna ever do something like that, this is the open to do it, especially with some of the mindset and the attitudes towards CrossFit right now. So, but yeah, so 25.2 that announcement will be Thursday afternoon. I'm trying to think where it's at. I believe. One second. Pull that up here. While I'm pulling that up, you can talk about whatever you want.
I'm not sure what to talk about.
There you go. I just put you on the spot and you failed.
I can show Walt. He's snoozing though.
Yeah. You said he was tired. 25 point. I'm sure someone is going to find us or say it in chat before I find anything. But you didn't watch it, but how do you feel about like them doing it at Mayhem with the Mayhem community, and then also having Rich kind of jumping in and doing the workout? I mean, your thoughts on that?
People loved it. People really like to see him come out of retirement, if you will. I think it was cool to get a reminder maybe of like what CrossFit used to be like, if that makes any sense, you know, kind of like paying homage a little bit. They had done it at Mayhem before, or no, this was the first time?
They've done it one time prior.
Okay. I mean, Mayhem is really influential in the community, so it kind of makes sense to me to have it somewhere like that. Oh my gosh. I thought my phone was on.
Yeah, you're popular now.
And
Those are your friends just realizing that you're on a live podcast right now.
but to me, it made sense. I can't remember where are the other ones, or you're looking it up now.
Yeah, it's right now. 25.2, presented by U.S. Border Patrol, will be feature a head-to-head throwdown between Emily Rolfe and Sydney Wells, live from CrossFit Incendia in Peoria, Arizona.
Okay.
So, kind of interesting to have it. I guess the U.S. Border Patrol doing it in Arizona, where that's kind of funny. I guess only fitting. But Sydney Wells and Emily Rolfe. Man, now these are two athletes who I was talked about Brian with this. Whenever I'd see like I have like always a group of athletes that are always grouped together when we do ranking, Emily
Uh,
Ross, Sydney Wells, and Amy Kringle and Haley Adams are usually those athletes that I group in those type of and group together when I do rankings. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. Why is that?
Their capacity when it comes to cardio and running.
Okay. Yeah, that makes, yeah. Who was the
You
other
know,
one? Haley Adams, you said?
Haley Adams, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
I'm
oh,
honestly surprised that we've seen Sydney for so long. I like was expecting her to like make the games, what was it, a couple years ago, and
mhm.
then maybe fizzle out, but she's really like proving to people that she deserves to be there and she's doing really well.
No, she's only getting better.
Yeah.
I always thought. I mean, I met Sydney for the first time back in 2017 when she was still running at Mizzou. But Brooke would always come to the gym and train in St. Louis. Her mom lives in St. Louis still, and that was at the time when her and Jessica Griffith were good friends. But they would come and train, and Sydney would come in too and train with her. But obviously, she was more of a novice. You could definitely see the athletic ability in Sydney. I mean, this girl was running the 400 meters, 800 meters in the SEC. The girl can run. I mean, Brooke comes from the same background, so you can see the athletic ability. Um, and I don't think Sydney. It just kind of happened by accident. Like she moved to Nashville, started going
Yep.
workout trivium just to work out, and she started doing well. And it actually took her qualifying for the semifinals for proving it's like, hey, proving agreeing to coach her. And at the time, she had a full time job.
Well, I think too, she was just taking class, right? And
Yeah,
she had made it to semis, which is
yeah,
insane.
yep, yep. It really was. And then, yeah, I just think she's one of those athletes. You get to the games because of the format of the games where there is a lot more running. Especially like I thought, if she would have made the games this year, she would have did really well.
Yep.
But I think it was also a blessing that she didn't make the games because what it did, it made her concentrate this summer on working on some of the not games prep, but working more on some of her things that she's gotten much stronger. I don't know if you saw that, but like when she was at Wadapalooza, her clean that complex, I was
Hmm.
really impressed with that. I think she lifted more than Brooke did,
Yeah.
and she's only getting better. Obviously, her biggest hole is her ring muscle ups, and she's learning to do that. So, um, hi, that's Brian. I think he's either talking about me. Yeah. Here's one of the guys I wanted to bring on, but he's just now seeing my message. Thank you, Jason. You had a chance to talk about all the European athletes that you wanted to, and you missed it. Anyways, but I really think Sydney's really lining her up for a really good year. Um, you know, it's just a matter of how busy she
Yeah.
wants to get. She is a WFP athlete as well. This could be a really I don't know if she's used to that type of volume, but
Yep.
it'll be interesting to see. But I really do like the upside in Sydney, and I think a lot of it's too because she's so new to CrossFit. She's learning like good habits. Um, she doesn't have to relearn any bad habits. Like Shane, or actually her coach, it's not Shane. Her coach is at Proven. I'm trying to God, I completely freaking forgot her coach's name. But he's been able to kind of mold her into an athlete and train her properly. And what we're seeing is the result of that, and having the ability to work with her all summer. So
She's killing it.
CrossFit brings up she's probably extremely fit, but has to learn strategy right. I mean, that's where competition. Oh yeah, you're right. It's not Nick. It's Dwight. Dwight is our coach. Good, thank you for that CrossFit. But yeah, I think that's where competition experience. The athletes that I manage, or any athlete that asks me, I always tell them, like, especially young athletes, I like the best way to learn about yourself is
Yep.
competition experience, and and that's the only way to kind of test where your fitness is at. Now, as you become an established athlete, then you can start cutting back. Someone like Jeffrey Adler, he doesn't need to do as many competitions. Same with Dallin Pepper. You can just hold out for the big one. But if you're a younger athlete, you need that competition experience to see how you do under the lights. Even if it's a crowd of 5 people, there's still pressure there.
Totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Emily will be wearing Canada shorts. I don't know what Canada shorts mean. Would that be, oh, that's a reference because Rich popped off his pants. He had the USA Rocky Balboa shorts on, so that we'll be wearing Canada shorts. Got it. So, but that's 25.2 happening in Arizona. If you've never watched an open announcement, I've had the pleasure of being at 3 open announcements. It's really fun. It really is. I got to see one done at HQ in at Rogue HQ,
Cool.
and I got to see one in Iowa, and I'm trying to remember my third one I saw. But they're really cool. If you're in the area, try to find out how you can be a part of it or be there. But, well, that's 25.1. Kind of a recap of it. Again, the leaderboard isn't final. There probably will be some penalties assessed. And we don't know, but right now our 25.1 champions are Miriam Von Rohr and Colton Mertens, 2 well-deserving athletes. Kate, do you have anything to kind of close off?
I don't think so. I'm really excited to see what happens next week or this week, I guess, and see if it shakes the leaderboard up at all, or if we're going to kind of see the same people up towards the top. But I think we talked about some people who will do really well in the workouts to come. So I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah, I am too. I'm really excited to just kind of like see the shakeup, see what athletes see because it's really cool because you can always see like the top athletes kind of filter towards the top, but then there's always that 1 or 2 athletes you don't know too much about that are there, and you're kind of okay. Who are? I mean, that's how Miriam was last year. That's how like Gracie Walden was. That's how some of these other athletes are, and those are the athletes I'm most interested in because I want to learn more about them. Those are the athletes I want to bring on the show and get to learn about them as well.
Definitely.
Hopefully, maybe yeah, let's do this again next week. Maybe next Tuesday, same time.
Let me know. I'm free.
All right. So thanks everyone for joining us. We appreciate you joining us and the support as always. Yeah, so that we'll be back. Well, actually, we'll have myself and Brian. Brian will be back tomorrow. We will be recapping, looking at his power rankings for the women's side of WFP. So the people that didn't like his men's rankings from last week, they're really going to love his women's rankings. So that story will be up, and Instagram post will be up this afternoon, and we'll have a show tomorrow with it. Hopefully, Nico can join us again. I think people like Nico. He had a lot of information, so but we'll be on tomorrow around the same time, probably 1 o'clock Eastern, noon Central. So I'll have to confirm that. But keep an eye out on our YouTube channel and social media for when that show will be. But with that being said, me and Kate will be back next week to recap 25.2 and again take a look at the leaderboard. We want to send a shout out to HCR CBD for your support. None of this is possible without them, just like it isn't possible without everyone in the chat supporting us and cheering us on. Man, season started. It's exciting. We got WFP is going to be starting here soon in less than 2 months, I believe. Well, about a little over 2 months. So it's a lot of fun stuff, a lot of stuff to talk about. We're about to ramp up. This ain't going to be the last time you see Kate. And some people say beautiful face. Some people in the chat say it's beautiful. That's only because she put makeup on.
I did wash my hair today just for this.
Watch it. I was wondering. It looks shiny. Way to go! You even put a plant on the counter. Look at that.
Yeah.
Next. But as always, on behalf of myself, Kate, I want to say thank you for joining us. And today's Tuesday. It's never too late to be friendly to people, especially as always, be friendly, our friends.